take it back when it's on camera.
I mean, that's true. All right. Well, since we decided to just getting into this, we had a recommendation on one of our Instagram posts from our lovely friend Tommy. He recommended that
Tommy G.
So typically, actually, I think we covered this in one of the Vault episodes, but typically,
Yeah, but it's a Vault episode.
So we'll go over it because this is actually our third week recording. So, God, my nose is so itchy, and I feel like every time my nose is itchy, it just like people probably think I do coke or something, but like I just have an itchy
Bro, that
nose.
was me yesterday. Yeah,
I'm like over here, like my nose is red, and I'm like,
but I was at work.
just
too,
allergies.
so
Anyways, so since our the name of the podcast is Catchin Up Podcast, and our what would you call abbreviation is CUP. So when Gabe gave me the idea to make a coffee cup for the logo, I then turned it into the iced coffee cup because we both love iced coffee. And then when we posted it on our Instagram, we were asking for like recommendations of what people want us to talk about. And like I said before, Tommy recommended that we like have a coffee from somewhere each episode and try to review it or like give our thoughts on it. Now, I don't know if we'll be able to do like a different coffee shop every week. That might be like a every couple weeks type of thing. But
we could try different coffees of the same place.
from a different place.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, I usually have one, but it's usually like just Starbucks or something. So it is cool because there's so many different like little ones here in LA. So it will be nice. But the problem is, bro, is they're all like, it'll say like 1 mile and then it'll be like 25 minutes away, and I'm like, bruh. So
you just gotta order it to your crib.
Man, I ain't got that Uber Eats money.
Yo, send
wish.
Ty some Uber Eats money.
But anyway, so I'm going to let Gabe go first because he was kind enough to not take a sip yet, but I did. So.
Yeah, I haven't had it yet.
So give your setup, where it's from, what it is, and let us know.
All right. Well, first off, this is double O's. I think I'm framing it right. It's right next to my face.
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
gotta
be that,
be.
that off. It's called Tortuga. And I got the iced version, the large. It is mocha, caramel, hazelnut, and cinnamon powder. But, okay, I'm going to be honest, because Tyler knows this. I'm not the biggest fan of, like, chocolate and, like, mocha specifically. Like, I'll always pick caramel over mocha. But because this seemed like a pretty good mixture of everything. You know what I mean? Like, it's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that would be
Cheers.
my ultimate coffee right there, bro.
I agree. I agree. I'll let you know. So one last look before I drink it.
I feel like you need to mix that
Also-
up, bro.
Bro, I was thinking the same thing. I was also going to say, while I'm mixing this up, because you guys can see the transformation, it's beautiful. One thing that I like about Double O's, because I've only had their coffee a couple times, so like not too many. This is probably like my second or third.
Uh-huh.
But they don't overdo it with ice. Like I'm the type of guy that asks for light ice or just no ice in certain drinks. And they have yet to fill my cup up with ice. Like it's always, like I always kind of got to mix it so the bottom's not warm. Like not in like a gross way, but like like even right now, like it's like room temperature and then like up here is like freezing cold. So that's one thing I do like about them. You do get your bang for your buck. Like you do actually get a full cup of coffee. So cheers. This is as much as I can do without making a mess. I made a mess.
Wow. The way you sipping it.
Okay. Ooh. Bro, mocha's not too overpowering, and also because I waited, the outside was coated in chocolate, so that all has melted into the drink. So, bro, fire. For someone that doesn't like mocha, this is a really good mocha.
It looks really good.
It's not overpowering. The cinnamon's just a hint. The hazelnut you can taste a lot. I think that was probably like the primary creamer. Yeah, and you can taste the sweetness of the caramel. It's a very nice morning drink if you want something that's sweet, but it's a little earthy. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
not overly sweet like foxtail. Like, sometimes I feel like when I have certain drinks, especially the mocha foxtail, it's just syrup.
Yeah.
This has a little more, like, if you're a coffee lover, you like the taste of coffee. Of coffee. So, I'd give this, for someone that doesn't like mocha, I'd probably give it like a 7.5 out of 10.
Nice. I mean, that's pretty
For
solid.
the Tortuga at double O's.
Tortuga. That's a cool name.
I know, bro. All their name. The other one that I've had, I'll review it next pod. It's called Sandbar. So it's caramel and cinnamon.
They got the names.
Like
on
they
them.
all have. They're all really creative names.
Okay, cool. So I got from this local shop over here in Culver City. It's called Cognoscenti. If I'm pronouncing that right, I hope so. So this place was interesting. It's a pretty cool little spot, and they don't have like you can't. I guess I mean because I asked like because they just had a board and it was like latte, americano, espresso, just like all the basics. And I was like, hey, can I get like an iced caramel latte? And he's like, oh, we don't have caramel. We just have like our seasonal flavor, which is creme brulee. And so I was like, okay. I mean,
Ooh.
I got lucky with that one because, it could have been something weird like orange or something. I don't know,
It could have just been mint.
Yeah, or like mint, right? I'm like, nah. But yeah, but I think because I had already tried mine, but I'll also do another taste test of it. I think theirs is a much more, because I feel like they didn't put any syrup in this. I feel like it's just the flavor of like the actual coffee bean, to be honest with you.
Interesting.
Because it's very light. I mean, it's good. It's very good, especially for people who actually like you said, it's kind of like what you were saying, how it's for people who like coffee, who don't really want a lot of syrup, who don't really want a lot of sugars and like just extra stuff added. Although that stuff's great. So like I totally understand the people who do. But if you're going to go to this spot, I would definitely recommend it for people who actually like the taste of coffee more so than sweetness. But it is really good. So I think like it's a great coffee spot. Me personally, I'm kind of like in the middle, right? And I think my coffee tastes have kind of changed as I've started to like get older. Is before I was like, let me get that double mocha frappuccino, like super chocolate, super sweet, super good. And then like it kind
you like coffee with your chocolate.
Yeah, exactly. And then it kind of transitioned into okay, I don't want the frozen stuff anymore, but now I want like just a very sweet coffee. And then recently it's kind of been like I don't know. It's like I just like the taste of coffee more. I still need flavor. Don't get me wrong, but not as much sweetness as before. So this is actually like a really good one. But I don't think it's like exactly. I think I like it a tad bit more sweeter, or like a tad bit more of the flavor to come through. Because like I could taste it, but it almost just tastes like a light sweetness. But it's really good. So I think I'd give it a 7.8 out of 10.
Okay, we're really going with our
Like it's
estimates,
really good,
okay.
really good coffee. You can tell it's quality. But for me personally, I would prefer just a tad bit more flavor in there.
Yeah, I understand that, especially when it's like specifically like creme brulee. Like you really want to taste.
Yeah.
that.
Well, and also like for them too, I feel like it's weird because I'm like, how there's so many other places with so many different options. Like, how do you exist with only like one flavor? I mean, I don't know if they had other flavors, but from what I understand, like he told me they just had the seasonal flavor. So I'm like, with all these other options and places where you can get anything you want made, it kind of seems like you're boxing yourself out. But I don't know, maybe some people like that.
It might be the way they make their coffee that might make them a little more special too.
Yeah.
But to each their own. I'm sure some people. It probably gets rid of a lot of people that they don't want to.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? It probably saves them more money because you could probably save some coffee.
It is a smaller shop for sure. So it's definitely not like a Starbucks or Coffee Bean or something like that. So.
And I hate being that guy, but on the caffeine laxative scale, this is a 10 out of 10. So I gotta go. Tyler, talk for like 5 minutes.
All right. Well, since I got to chat for a little bit here, you guys get some alone time with me on the Catching Up Podcast. So I appreciate this intimacy and time together that we're getting. So I'm going to use this time to give my review of Dune 2, spoiler free, because I know Gabe hasn't seen it as of yet, even though I keep telling him to go and see it. I mean, yeah, it's a tough. The first one's a tough watch. I mean, okay, listen. If you like the first one, you're going to like even remotely like it. Like I like the first one. I did think it was a bit slow in parts, which I think everybody does because it really is just creating that world and it's creating that just atmosphere and it's creating the scale of what the movies are going to become. So if you even remotely like Dune 1, you're going to like Dune 2, like no doubt about it. Because Dune 2 is just so much grander on every single level, visually, performance-wise, storyline-wise, the characters they have. I mean, everything is just next level. I went and saw it in Dolby the second night it came out because I was able to get a last-minute ticket. And, I mean, the sound design... Dolby is basically, I mean, it's like usually if you want to see a really like a good movie like that or Oppenheimer or something that was made, really, really well. Yeah, Avatar. Dolby is more so like they're really, really good with the sound design and their screens are big. The screens are not as big as IMAX, but apparently their screens have better color contrast, is what some people say. But the sound design is really what like the benefit of Dolby is. And bro, the seats the whole movie were like vibrating and it like just gave you that feeling like you were almost there on some of the scenes. But yeah, man, I mean I really think I'm not like I love science fiction. I haven't seen a lot of science fiction movies, so like it's hard for me to make a judgment and be like, this is the best sci-fi movie ever. Like a lot of people, I mean, some people are saying that. But from what I've seen so far, I think it is. I mean, I need to go watch it again, and I'm gonna go watch it again in theaters for sure. But it's probably the closest to a perfect movie that I've ever watched. Like I don't see anything wrong with the movie at all. I think that everybody turns in their best performances, in like it's just incredible. The visual aspects. I mean, the way that they were actually out there shooting in the desert, so everything is and looks real. I mean, of course, they still use CGI for some parts, I'm sure, but just the way everything looks, it's insane how far we've come with filmmaking and the technology behind it. And this is everything on display of what we can possibly achieve at this moment. And it's just from start to finish. It's a 2 hours and like 45-minute movie. It doesn't feel like that at all. Again, that is long, so I'm not saying that at some points it might be like, oh, I feel like I've been here for a minute, But for the most part, you really don't. I mean, they really do a good job of keeping you entertained, keeping the action going, keeping the storyline entertaining. And it's just I don't have like I was almost speechless when I left the theater, man. I mean, and it's very rare that I like think about a film for a few days after seeing it, but this one, like I've just been thinking about it a lot, and just like when am I gonna go back and see it again? I'm trying to wait to go with friends or my girlfriend this time around. But yeah, man. I mean, I highly recommend it for anybody who is thinking about seeing it. And you don't even, the director said you don't even have to see Dune 1. I think you should, just to kind of get an understanding of the characters and the atmosphere that they're building. But I guess you don't necessarily have to. So, like, if that's your factor, like, oh, I need to watch the first one, like, I wouldn't wait. I would go and see it in IMAX or Dolby and then watch the other one, because I'm like, if you miss watching this in theaters, like, you're missing out on such, like, an epic landmark in film history. You know what I mean? Because no matter, like, what people, like, the good and bad reviews, like, this is 100%, like, the new bar for science fiction films.
Wow. You're really talking it up.
I had to, man. I had 5 minutes with nobody to talk to.
Yeah. Sorry. Anyways, duty calls. When duty calls, you got to answer. So I've watched the first half of Dune. The first time I watched it, I was like at work. It was just something to listen to. So I was watching here and there, and I thought it was a really good movie from what I saw. I understand why people are so confused. Granted, I didn't finish it either, so that's probably another reason as to why I was so confused. But I started watching it last night, and then I fell asleep because I had a long day. I work a lot, guys. Sorry. So I do plan on finishing the first one this week, and then ideally, I would like to watch the second one before we record next week, so we can both
that'd be
talk
nice.
about it. That's my plan. So I'll keep you guys posted as someone that hasn't actually watched the first nor the second. And I'm also like not an actor, so it's like Tyler definitely looks and sees and notices different things than I would. So I'll let you know my opinion as just an average Joe.
As just a casual fan. No, I
Yeah.
think this is the thing, bro. I mean, for the first one especially, like you really have to be awake and like alert for the movie, because like I tried to watch it a while back, and I started it at like I think 11:30 or something, and it's also like an almost 3-hour movie, and I was just like 20 minutes in, and I was like, no, I can't do this. And then like a few months later, I was on a flight, and I was like, oh, let me watch this. Like I'm gonna be awake, so because like I have a hard time sleeping on flights. So I was like, why not just watch this here? And so I watched the first one on like my iPad, so it wasn't the best viewing experience, obviously. But I still thought it was really good and entertaining and visually stunning. But yeah, the second one is it's just levels above it. And I'm like just watching that for the first time. But now it's cool because I feel like when you watch a movie for the first time, it's like, you get the shock factor, everything's new, it's exciting. Then the second time you can really sit back, watch it, kind of like start to understand it more.
Pay attention.
Yeah, and like you actually kind of know what's going on now. So yeah, I'm excited to do that at some point, hopefully this weekend or next. But anyways, now that we're done yapping, why don't you go ahead and roll that intro, sir?
Right now, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, the show's about to start. Introducing Catchin Up Podcast.
Wow, that was a cool intro. I love our intro, honestly. Like, I think it's so sick.
Yeah, it is, bro. It's really tight.
Yeah.
If you guys like our intro, let us know down below, man. Let us know if you're digging it, if you like the track behind it that Gabe produced, if you like the visual aspects of it. We'll see if we update it as the seasons go on, but I think it's pretty good as is right now. It looks really clean.
I think the sound I might update a little bit. I'm not like fully satisfied with the sound. I think it could be a little bit better, but I think that's I think it's good for what we got right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we literally only had, I think, 3 episodes filmed by that time. I mean, this is our 3rd episode filming, but we filmed a couple vault episodes in case, so that we don't leave y'all hanging ever. But yeah. So by the time we had, started making the intro, we really didn't have a lot of footage to go off of, or even like Gabe didn't know how long it was gonna be, so he was trying to figure out how long to make his track to it as well. So it's interesting figuring all of that out.
I think it's also another factor is that this podcast is so like it's like us, like it's like whatever we want to make it, and it's supposed to be like a more or less a representation of us. So it was like there's so many routes we could have gone with the intro of like what kind of vibe are we going for, like what's the like I don't know, like there's just like a lot of other factors too. So we were kind of just like blindly aiming.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard
until we had a couple episodes recorded, and then like got a feel for how we are and like what we want for the podcast and stuff like that, which is the fun part about making your own podcast, is because it can be whatever you want. If you listen to like the last season of the sesh, that was a creepy intro. Like, it was a really creepy intro, but it's because we were just true crime. So it's like I don't know. And then the first time, our first original intro for the sesh was very like 80s theme because Tyler was convinced he was born in the wrong time. So I just catered it to that. So it's cool. It's cool.
I still am, but That's a story for another time.
Not as much. You're starting to get into the 90s.
I'm creeping into a different era right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody is,
man.
bro. It's crazy how, how much I think fashion dictates and like swings around, and it's so weird to see how nowadays I don't know, fashion's just such in a weird space because there's so many things that are like in from prior decades, but I think we're also at this really cool point in time with fashion right now that everything is moving so fast. So like there's literally different trends and different outfits every single like month, it feels like. But it's kind of weird because I think we're also at a space where nobody like really judges anymore. I mean, obviously there's certain things like I don't really know if people are still wearing like Sperry's and stuff like that,
Whoa.
the Sperry's with the Nike
I haven't seen a
socks.
Sperry
Like
in
I
so
don't really,
long.
if you wear those, you might still get some hate. But I feel like we're in a really cool spot where everybody is pretty accepting and like people are meshing different eras and different time periods, and they just kind of work together. And you have people with like this classic style, and then you have people with this very like forward style, and you have people with very modern style. And there's just so many, like, even if you look at it in terms of what most people could see like celebrities, you have somebody like Austin Butler who dresses very like sleek and almost like 50s, 60s Hollywood. And then you have somebody like Timothée Chalamet who's very, very kind of more forward and modern, but he also has like a very street style. And then you have somebody like Barry Keoghan who has this like modern but also very unique take on the classics, and they're more pushing boundaries. So just those three for like examples, but they're all like in these different wardrobe spaces, and they all work, and like they're all in style somehow nowadays, whereas like before, I think like up until recently, if you weren't like kind of where the trends are, you kind of got hate for it, right? Like people thought you didn't have style. So that's a really cool thing, though. I think it really helps people kind of mold into that just wear whatever you want type of thing,
Yeah, I really like it. It for lack of a better way of saying it, it's just I think your capability of being able to change with the times really gets shown like now. You know what I mean? Like I know people that like for example, my sister dresses not anymore as much, but before she used to dress a lot more alternative. You know what I mean? Like super baggy stuff, like a little darker, a little more graphic designs and stuff like that. And she looked great, and it was like a specific style. But like you could see like certain people that are like, oh, that's not what you're supposed to wear and all that stuff. And I'm like, it is like it is like just because like it's not that's not considered normal back in the day. Like that doesn't, it is now. And you know what I mean? And like, it's so funny seeing how you can get so many different opinions on the same article of clothing because of how up to date people are. You know what I mean? Like I even have this one, it's just like a blue shirt. It's a blue button up shirt with like white lines, like right here. And, like right where my shoulder is a little bit, like armpit down. I'll wear it next episode so you guys can see it. But like, one person in my family like hates that shirt, like wants to like throw it out, thinks it's ugly, thinks it's super old, like it looks super old and all that stuff. But every single time I wear that shirt out, like I get complimented on it, like every single time, like without fail, like every single time I get at least like 3 to 5 compliments on that one shirt. And then, but like they absolutely despise it. Like you just look old. Like it looks like an old shirt. It's not modern on stuff.
Different
like, no,
generations,
but it is.
bro.
Like it's crazy, right? Like, and it's like it just shows how you really gotta like, I don't know, like you said, kind of like be accepting, but also like it's always changing. And like this is a very unique time where everything's interchanged. Like you get mixtures of styles now, like you were saying. Like you got a little more modern but forward, but a little edgy, and then you got a little more conservative but still somehow forward. And then, but it's not modern at all, but it is.
Well,
it's so.
Yeah, I think it's also it was interesting to see obviously, because when I moved out to LA, fortunately, I work at a this like retail fashion space, and so when I came here, I basically got hooked up with like a whole new wardrobe because of some of the clothing
Yeah, you
stores
did.
we were working at. Some of the clothing stores I was working at, they were able to like give us a uniform allowance, which was just like you get to pick their clothes. But all that needless to say, like it was interesting going back to Florida for the first time because even though nowadays, we all are on social media and so like trends are able to be seen a lot. Their trends are a lot more accessible,
Instant.
I would say, yeah, instantly. It was still interesting to see like it still takes, I would say, about a year for stuff to come full circle to like places that aren't LA or New York or Chicago. And even though those are all respectively have different styles, you still will see a lot of the same trends just mixed in differently into people's wardrobes. But with like smaller places or where like fashion isn't as, up to tip top shape, I felt like when I went back, it was just I was a little bit different than everybody, and but like for me, it was normal because I had been out here for a year now, and like everybody kind of not everybody, but like that's like what is in, and that like for example the baggy stuff, like it was very much in when I got to LA. So and it wasn't even just like loose stuff; it was like baggy stuff was already in, and I feel like the
Yeah.
super baggy look is almost just now starting to kick in everywhere else. Like I think loose stuff has been on the map for about a year, but like super baggy stuff is like just starting to like trend in other areas where like it's been like that for about a year and a half here. And it was just very
No, for
weird to
sure.
experience because it's like you go back and you're like, oh, like everybody, they're just like me. Everybody sees these same things, but it's like, no, they're still wearing like skinny jeans and like it's fine. Like there's I'm not like saying that's a bad thing, but I'm saying it was just weird because over here, like you don't really see that, and then to go over there and like I'm the only one like rocking super loose pants. It was like, whoa, this is kind of interesting. So it'll be interesting to see like how we go along and to see where that leads to and kind of takes us. I wonder like with social media taking over more, will it like continually take as long, or will it shorten the time span that it takes for people to catch on with these?
That's an interesting question because I like that story that you're saying right now is a very common story. You always hear people, specifically LA and New York. You know what I mean? Like they will move out there for whatever reason and they come home and then like everyone's making fun of what they're wearing. Why would you wear that? That's so ugly. And then 3 months later, everyone's wearing the same
Yeah.
thing they're wearing, right? Because I feel like a lot of the fashion trends start in those areas. But I do think it's becoming. I don't think it's taking as long.
No, I don't think
But
so.
I don't know if it's ever gonna be on the same page.
Right, for sure.
If that makes sense. Like I think, California, New York, maybe even like Chicago and like other like big areas like that, very like culturally rich. They I always think they're gonna be a little ahead, but I think it's gonna go from instead of being, you've been wearing, super baggy tracksuits, for example. Like instead of it taking a year for Florida to start picking that up, I think it'll slowly dwindle down to like 2-3 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? More so, I think it's more so distribution. I think that's what it's going to end up coming to. I think it's going to become more so like the distribution catching up to it.
Yeah.
Because I also know like I've seen you wear stuff that I really like, but I can't find it.
Yeah,
Here.
that's true. That's
You know
true.
what I mean? And then like a month or two will pass, and I'll go back to the same store, and then they got it.
That is true. Yeah, but
Yes.
I was because my homie wanted to go shopping last night, so we were at the mall, and the lady at Zara was telling me that she said they get new stuff now like on a weekly basis. They're almost like kind
Oof.
of like swapping
Oof.
out a lot of the stuff on their floor, and I'm like, bro, that is insane. I mean. Listen, I know people have had problems with like Zara quality. I personally really never have. Everything I get from them typically lasts. I mean, I'm sure I've had like a shirt or two that, didn't hold up the test of time, but nowadays thinking of like how fast everything is moving, I'm like, how are you able to produce this fast and kind of like make it well made and for people to like live in it? It's just crazy to me how fast like those things can be made and changed and adapted. And but you know, I mean, that's what you have to do nowadays if you want to stay up, because everybody else is doing it. You know, like you have places like Shein and Fashion Nova, like they have a million different styles on their websites. Like, what are you gonna do to stay in business? You have to find a way to keep up with that amount of just demand and accessibility, really. But yeah, I just found that really crazy. I was like, how that, like, but you know what? A place that really came up, bro, is Abercrombie and Fitch.
Bro, I was just about to bring that up.
Because we went there last night because I saw a TikTok of this one of these fashion influencers.
Yeah,
it's a
English
flub and a
is
half. Of one of these fashion influencers that I follow, and he was doing like a haul, and I was like, he got all that stuff there. I was like, what? Because you know, back in the day, they were kind of like the second Hollister in a way, like, you know, kind of like logos everywhere and like super tight tees and smelled like cologne.
Bro, if you couldn't buy a shirt that didn't either have the full Abercrombie and Fitch name or a fat moose on it or just A&F.
Yeah.
Like, you could not find a shirt without that.
Right.
And then I think once we went into that era of it's not quote unquote cool to wear logos anymore, because that we did hit a little era where it's like if it said the name of where it's from, like that's tacky. So I think once we hit that, I think that's when they started like really picking up. And now, bro, they got fire stuff.
It's crazy. It's almost like Zara, but to a degree. I mean, they still don't carry the same things. Like Abercrombie and Fitch, I think, has a little bit more. I honestly think they're a little bit more quality. I'm not gonna lie. But
I agree.
Zara they literally have everything. Whereas Abercrombie, like, I don't think you're gonna find a suit in there. Whereas like you could find a suit in Zara.
Mm-mm.
But man, they have like really, really good choices for denim. And I even just picked up these denim like they're like work, like, you know, the jeans that are like almost like the Carhartt jeans, like the carpenter pants, but are denim. They have like shorts of that, which are like they're fire fit. They had like these really, really nice washes of loose denim. They had like these retro sweaters, like they have their own like retro tee collection. I was just like, wow, I did not expect this coming in here, man. But I mean, listen, it does all come with a price. They're pretty pricey, I'm not gonna lie. Not like other high-end brands, like, you know, you could still walk out of there and get maybe a couple of items, depending on what they are, for $100. But usually their denim runs about $100, which is not bad. I mean, now that like I work in a industry like the fashion industry, and seeing like where a lot of these other brands charge $250 plus for denim, and people are buying it, I'm like, okay, $100 isn't bad for denim, but it's crazy because back in the day I would spend $80 on denim and be like, what is going on? Like, this is insane. But now, like, the standard for denim is almost like at least $80.
A car payment.
Yeah, like unless you're going to H&M or Old Navy or somewhere. But even then, I feel like you're at least spending $50. You know what I mean? So it's pricing wise, it's crazy.
Bro.
But yeah, I mean, dude, it's Abercrombie. Y'all stepped up your game, man. Respect.
Well, another one that you just mentioned that like surprisingly stepped up their game because I went there this past week was Old Navy. I was like finding some really nice stuff at low. Me neither, but I actually have not been to Old Navy in like 10 years because like Old Navy was like on par with, you know, those other brands of like, you know what I mean? And I went in there and I was impressed. Like there was some really nice fits. Like I almost bought a couple pair of pants too, just because they were just nice. You know what I mean? And it's a little cheaper, and I like it. It's nice to see those old brands or brands that have been there for a long time, trying to keep up with the time. Ooh, I can't speak today. Trying to keep up with the times, but trying to keep up with the times, but they're actually doing it. You know what I mean? Like I feel. I'm not going to speak like I know exactly what I'm talking about, but the one or two times that I went in there recently, it feels just like how it was like 5 to 10 years ago is American Eagle. Like I feel like every time I go into American Eagle, it's the same stuff.
Yeah.
Personally. Maybe I'm just going to the wrong one. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong stuff. I don't know. But American Eagle seems to be one of those places where like they kept up to date on like styles of jeans, especially like women's jeans, because women's got so many different types.
Yeah.
I was looking at their chart and I'm like, I don't even know the difference between these three. I was like, they look the exact same to me. But so with that, because at least in Florida, there was an era where it's like if you didn't own American Eagle, you're trash. Like for lack of a better word, like it was just
you don't fit in.
it just wasn't it. And now I'm like, I never see anyone talk about American Eagle. I feel like Forever 21 is
Hollister.
one of those that like, bro, I haven't heard anyone talk about Hollister.
Mm-mm. Because the thing
all.
with Hollister
Granted,
is
their stuff's pretty good still too.
Bro, the thing is with Hollister, their stuff is really. I haven't been in there in a while, but every time I used to go in there, their stuff is really good. But they always had Hollister somewhere like written on it, and I'm like, why can't you just make subtle clothing? Like they always had to have their brand plastered somewhere on it, and even when it got smaller, it was still like there. And you're like, I don't want that. Like, you know what I mean? I want your clothing, but like, just make it a little bit more subtle. It doesn't have to
You
be
could tell they
plastic.
added it just so people knew it was theirs.
Exactly. And like I get it. I mean, I guess in a way, like, it's your brand, you're getting your name out there, but at the same time, it's like you'd probably make more sales if you didn't.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
I feel like it's more adaptable too. Like for those people that do like business casual, right? Where you get like a little suit jacket, tux jacket, and then you wear a t-shirt underneath. Like usually they don't want a little logo to slip out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
From the corner if they take the jacket off or if it slides open and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of like important too for when you're trying to layer. Like at least me personally, like unless it's like a graphic design, I want it to be plain. Like I don't want anything on there.
Yeah, well, and I think that's the thing. Like, bro, I don't recall seeing any logos that stated Abercrombie and Fitch in the store, like on any of the clothes. I'm like, so essentially they just turned into a clothing brand who decided to, I'm not saying they're super original with it, but they're like, let's make styles and clothing that people want to wear that is on trend, that is in the moment right now, and we don't need our name all over it, And a lot of the brands, like I work in a men's store that carries a lot of higher end fashion brands, and very rarely they'll have their name on the clothing. It'll just be on the tag. If they do, some of them will put like a mini logo on like the chest, but it's like they do a design logo, so it's not just like the name or just like a letter. It's actually, it looks cool. Like Ami, for example, they have like a little cool logo. It's like an A with a heart. But yeah, a lot of the brands that are expensive and cost money, aside from like Balenciaga and Supreme, I'm not really talking about them. The brands that like know their worth, they don't need you to know that it's theirs because the quality and the style will speak for itself. Like you'll buy it because of that. You're not buying it because of the name. So that's where I think Abercrombie took the direction. And I don't know, honestly, maybe Hollister has. Like I said, I haven't been in there in a while. I actually don't think I've seen one for a while, but I haven't also been like actively looking for one. So
no, for sure.
It's like I don't know what they're doing nowadays, but I'm actually kind of curious. I might like look it up after and see what's going on. If any of you guys out there are still rocking Hollister, let us know. Back in the day, that was my stuff though. Like in high school, bro.
Oh,
like that's where I went to get my. I went to go school shopping at, because it was in. I mean, to a degree, and they actually made stuff that like fit really well for that time period and the styles that we're in, obviously. Because I wasn't into like streetwear or anything when I was in high school. I didn't really care, and it really wasn't as big of a thing. But yeah, I don't know. I just find it very interesting how certain brands have adapted and certain ones haven't. So what's good with you, man? Anything fun happened this week? Anything you want to chat about?
I'm trying to remember, bro. I've been having dreams about work.
So I've heard.
Oh, right. I guess I'll mention
So
that.
I've
So
heard.
yesterday we were watching Dune, and my girlfriend Delaney, she ended up falling asleep in the first like 5-10 minutes. So then I was like, whatever. So then I kept watching, and then I fell asleep, and then after the movie ended, she ended up waking up, and then I guess I like I said something, and then like I mumbled something. I don't know what I mumbled, and then she goes, "What?" And then I yell at her. I yell at her. I was like, "If you need help with the birthday cake and sparklers, just let me know." And then she's like, "What are you talking about?" And then I was like snoring. So to give backstory on like the only thing that makes sense in my head is that at my job, whenever it's someone's birthday or they're celebrating something, we come out with like sparklers. We got a bubble gun and stuff a bubble gun, right? Yeah, that shoots bubbles.
That's cool.
And yeah, it's really cool. And it's really fun to do. You know what I mean? So I always let them know. I'm like, oh, if you ever need any help, just let me know, and I'll help you guys. Because sometimes there's like one person that has time to do it. Because usually they like to have like 2 people hold sparklers and then 1 person with the bubble gun behind them. You know what I mean? So usually, like in an ideal world, they'll have like 3 or 4 people doing it. So I'm always like, hey, if you ever need an extra person, let me know. And they never let me know, and then I get upset. So I guess I was just dreaming about work, and if they needed help, just let me know. And I guess they didn't.
I guess they didn't.
Yeah, bro. It's crazy. I've been really like actually having a lot of dreams about work. I like come home, I go to sleep, have a dream about work, wake up, go to work. It's terrible.
Hey, you're living the dream job, I guess, man.
But I do enjoy my job. My job does physically kill me, but just because it's very like taxing and stuff like that. And I think I hurt my back yesterday. But other than that, like I love the people I work with. Like everyone I work with is like genuinely like super nice. Obviously, you always grow fonder or closer to some than others, but like there's not a single person that I'm like, ugh, I'm working with them. Like every single shift is it's always a good shift. You know what I mean? And it's cool too because we're all the opening crew. So, because the place that I work at the time of this recording at least, is only like maybe a month and a half old. I mean, like we opened like a month and a half ago. So, everyone started on the same page. There's no one that's like, you know how people get when they're like been there for a long time. They like claim seniority and stuff like that. It's like the most annoying thing ever. And then they're like, "Oh, you don't know how to do this yet?" And you're like, "No, I just started." But everyone was on the same page. Everyone's learning together. Of course, some pick up faster than others. But at the end of the day, like no one's over anyone because no one's been there longer than anyone else, other than management. You know what I mean? So that's like a really nice part. I think that also helped us get a lot closer too because we all understand each other's struggle, and it's the same struggle, as opposed to someone starting now, or like let's say someone starting 6 months from now, when everyone's got their job on lock. It's like muscle memory at this point, and then that person's just like, I don't know what to do. How do you do this? How do you do that? Like, you know what I mean? It like, it's different. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to pull them along, but you're trying to get your stuff done, but then it slows you down because you're training them. No one is really going through that. So yeah, I like it. It's a really cool spot too. Like everyone that goes there, it's so cool. It's the one of a kind. Shout out Stadium Club. I did ask. Apparently, I can mention it on the
bro's
podcast.
Giving a whole promo.
Yeah, no,
commercial.
unpaid. I mean, I get paid, but not for the promo.
He's like, I'm paid, not an actor, but I am paid by them. So
yeah, I do work hourly. So yeah, bro, it's so cool, and it's really cool because I get to kind of see. I've always worked in like I guess the only other big place I worked at, like money wise, was Publix, right? Like multi-million-dollar private corporation and stuff like that. And my hotel is a private hotel, which I think is really cool. It has a lot of different advantages than working at like a big corporate hotel like the Marriott or the Hilton or whatever. But it's really cool seeing from somewhere in a hotel or like, with that much money behind it, that how they promote stuff and how they decide to advertise and things that they do to get their name out, as opposed to like a small mom and pop shop or restaurant that they're just opening and then they're just posting. Like it's so cool how much money they throw into it. Not in like a wasteful way, of course, but I don't know. Like you never see people. I've never thought like Orlando Weekly would be going there making videos and like giving you a little tour of what it's like. And then like you see all these other Orlando-based influencers of like Cheat Day Orlando was there. Like a bunch of other Orlando spots, and it's cool like seeing it on other people's feed.
Yeah.
Like from someone that does social media and does podcasting, like we're on TikTok, we're on all that stuff, so we know what it's like recording and editing and making ads and stuff like that. It's cool seeing it from that standpoint because they come in with like crazy cameras sometimes. We were on the news one time. Like it's so cool like seeing that aspect on a big scale for a restaurant.
Yeah, well, tell them if they ever need a shout out on a podcast, bro.
Yeah, we need a little more followers. But I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
We need more than 23 followers, but maybe when
we're at 30 on Instagram.
Maybe when we get to 50, they'll consider us. They're like, wow, you guys are strong candidates now.
With 80, they can't argue.
Nah, yeah, that's dope. It looks really cool, man. I can't wait to come out there and check it out, and hopefully get maybe a little free snack or something. I don't know. I'm on a LA budget,
sure.
You gotta.
Oh, so you buying the whole place?
But yeah, man, I always find it so interesting with dreams, and I'm just like, they're so. Are they like our perceptions or our fears or our like? I'm so curious as to where they come from, because like with your example specifically, it's like, why were you like doing something with the birthday candles? You know what I mean? Like, why was that the thing?
We don't even have cake, which is the weird part.
Right, like,
like we don't.
Why
give
was
out
that
birthday
randomly?
cake.
Like, and that's happened with me where sometimes with jobs, but like I'll have dreams about other real life experiences, and like there's just always something that's, like you said, you guys don't even have birthday cake. There's always something that's off about it, but it feels so real. But it's like, why am I adding this piece into this part in my mind? Like, it just doesn't make sense,
Okay, so I personally, I know there's like a scientific thing, but I personally sometimes feel like, when you're on the ride home, right, after work, and you're kind of like decompressing, you're starting to like relax and chill and think about your day and stuff like that. And me personally, at least, I will finish thoughts that I didn't finish earlier. Because, like, let's say we're talking right now, and then my light falls, and that, like, we completely cut off this conversation, and then I go fix the light. I'll, like, be driving home, and I'll finish the thought of the conversation that we were having.
Okay.
So, like, I'll drive home, and I'll be like, oh, my gosh, I forgot to give that guy a Coke refill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're just, like, your brain's almost, like, debriefing and catching up. Oh, like the podcast? But
Shut up,
I always
them.
feel like whenever you have stuff subconsciously in your mind that you're always thinking about, that's what your dreams are. Like, I think it's your brain just like releasing whatever's left over.
Yeah.
Because apparently we do dream every night. But the only reason you remember dreams is because you didn't finish them. So if you finish your dream, you don't remember it. Which is why a lot of people remember nightmares, because you end up waking up. So then you don't finish your nightmare. And then you remember your nightmare. But you'll have dreams, and then you won't wake up. And then you're like, I never dream. I only have nightmares.
Bro, you know what's the worst? Is when you're like, what'd you say?
You?
Well, according to some people. But it's the worst when you're either like in the middle or honestly most of the time towards the end of like a really good dream, and it's really interesting and like it's really crazy and it's really cool, and then you wake up for some reason and you're like, no, I want to finish that. So you try to go back to sleep like thinking about it, but you can't. It's done. It's gone. Like you can't get back into it. It's not going to be the same dream. It's not going to be the same scenario. And I'm just like, man, come on. I wanted to finish that storyline, It's like...
But the best is when you can finish it.
I don't know. I don't
best.
know if I like go back to sleep and finish it. I don't know if I've ever been able to.
I have.
I can't hack my
Not every
my
time.
mind like that. That's a superpower right there, man.
Survival of the fittest. You know what I'm saying? I'm just more evolved than you. That's all it is. It happens.
But yeah.
But okay.
Go ahead.
Have you ever heard the theory of
Theory?
dreams. Okay, so you know like the whole multiverse thing, right? Everyone knows what the multiverse is.
Yeah, we're in one right now.
If you don't look, huh?
So we're-
Yeah, technically, according to the multiverse theory, this is one. If you don't know what it is, look it up because you can really go down a rabbit hole. But there's the theory. I think it's in Marvel. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's in part of
Probably.
Doctor Strange. But where dreams is you seeing reality of a different version of yourself. So like you know how sometimes you'll have a dream of, let's say you and your girlfriend break up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you're dating someone else.
Yeah.
Like that's you seeing your life in a different universe. So that's that Tyler's reality. That's that Gabe's reality.
Huh.
You know what I mean? Because of the multiverse theory that there's infinite versions of you with infinite different situations and infinite, you know? So I'm always like, if that were the case, if like that was the true, I got it good. Like some Gabes messed up.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
for real.
But
for real.
but it's a crazy theory because then it's like, is it my brain just? I mean, I don't necessarily believe that, but like it's a cool theory. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like the other day, I had a dream where, I'll bleep it out, but me, you, and a couple of our friends were sitting down, and someone said something, and it like ticked off. So like he started like screaming and arguing, and like me and him like almost got into like a full blown fist fight.
No, you were just reliving that one night.
Yeah, but we were in a different place. That was the thing.
It actually
Like
it'd actually be kind of funny if you on the podcast like you're like I'll bleep it out and then it's just silent and we're talking. And people are like, "Oh, I want to know what they're talking about." That could be funny.
I will. I'm gonna bleep it. It's gonna be like beep.
Well, yeah, I didn't know.
Oh, like the whole dream?
No, like yeah, like for example, you're like I'm gonna bleep it out, but instead of like you like cutting, like you just silence the video for that 10 seconds, and like we're still like, I don't know, it could just be fun.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
But yeah, man, I just find it's just so insane to me that we like go to sleep every night and have these like just vivid experiences. And sometimes, bro, I'm like, man, I wonder if I should be, because sometimes I'll wake up from a dream and I'll be like, that could make for like a really cool part of a movie or like a really cool part of something. But I a lot of the times it's hard like to fully remember it. So I feel like if I would have to like wake up and like immediately, obviously write down whatever I do remember. But sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I could remember like every single thing I said and was said to me. Because I'm like, that's the dialogue right there. Like the whole script is written. I just need to remember it all, you know. But I obviously can't. But yeah, it's such a weird concept.
Do you ever dream and then, or nightmare, whichever one, and then kind of just be like, am I normal? Should I be put in a psych ward? You ever dream something and you're like, that was messed up. Like, how did that even come out of my brain? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's weird. It's sometimes I'm like so grateful because sometimes I feel real and like I'll get into a car accident or like one I had last week, bro. I was just driving and like just randomly like I couldn't control the car anymore for no reason, and like I didn't like crash into anything, but I was like skidding into cars and stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to jail. It's over. Like this is crazy, and then I woke up and I was like, whew. Thank God that wasn't real. Like,
See that, Tyler? That reality sucks.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, dang, that's scary, bro.
You ever have it to where someone does something bad, especially like when you're dating someone? Like, there's been times where my girlfriend will have a bad dream and she'll be mad at me the next day because I did something in her dream, but like, I guess my dream self did something sketch, and now she's mad at me in real life. You ever have that?
No, I don't think
Oh,
that.
so you're normal.
I think
I'm just kidding.
Like, so you have a normal relation. No, I think for me, I have had dreams where like me and whoever I was dating at the time, it's happened during multiple things. Like they've broken up with me, and I don't know. It's a weird experience because then you wake up and like you know sometimes you're sleeping next to them if you spent the night or whatever. but it's like weird. You're like, whoa, like why did that happen? Why am I thinking about that? Why is that in my mind? You know.
Mhm.
But that could also just be like, if you think about it in that way, like that could just be like, I mean, we all have certain fears about relationships, and that could be for anything. Like you have a dream that you go to the interview and you don't get it, and the next day you have the actual interview. So it's like fears play into that. But also I found it, and just one last thing, because I feel like we're becoming professional yappers at this point.
I know.
I think it's so crazy when like people randomly from your past just pop up in your dream, and like I mean,
Yes.
listen, there are some times where like I don't know, I come across a post and like I just like, oh cool, it's cool to see they're doing good, and then like they'll just pop in my dream. But sometimes it'll be just out of nowhere. It'll be somebody I haven't thought about, somebody I sometimes don't even know a lot about anymore, and they just randomly pop up in my dream from when I did know them, and it's so weird, bro. It's just like, why are you here? Where are you coming from? You know?
Why are you so rude? They're just in your dream. Just say what's up.
No, like
just
it's
kidding.
crazy, bro. It's like don't be interfering.
No, for sure. The weird part for me would be when you imagine people you don't know, because I know your brain actually like picks up way more than you remember. Like
Yeah.
you pick up people's like apparently when you dream and you picture like someone's face and like how someone looks, your brain cannot make up faces. So you have seen that person at least some point in your life.
That's so wild.
Which is
bro.
kind of crazy to think about. Like every single person you don't know in your dream, you've actually seen in real
Yeah.
life, or you know maybe seen on a screen or something like that. But like you've visibly seen them.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's crazy to me when you realize that you have seen someone. But I don't know. I don't know why random people will show up, especially when it's like 10, 15 years ago, or people you don't like, or like you had a falling out with.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
It's just
I
so
had
weird.
a dream. I had a dream the other day or a couple weeks ago where there was this one kid that I was friends with for, years, my best friend when I first moved to Florida, and we're not friends anymore. And I had a dream that our old high school friend group for some reason like reunited, and obviously he wasn't there cuz we're not friends anymore, but like right at the end of the dream, I like turn around and I see him in the distance. And like at first I was like, "Oh, hey," cuz I just haven't seen him in a while. And like I'm not to like get too personal, but like I don't have anything against him. I'm more hurt. He has something against me. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like one of those situations. So I was kind of just like in shock. I was just like, "Oh, whoa, like I haven't seen this person in so long." And then I see them talk to someone, look at me, talk to the person again, and they just started charging at me. Like they were trying to fight me. And then I'm just like, and then I wake up and I was like, what the heck? Yeah, those are always interesting. Because I'm like, is that me? Is that how, do I feel that way towards them? Or is that like, you know what I mean? I don't know, it's so weird.
Yeah,
I don't know why I've been dreaming about
it's
fighting.
trippy, man. But
It's
yeah,
so
if you guys
trippy.
have any cool dreams or weird dreams that you want to let us know about, drop them in the comments. We can even, if you're cool with it, we can like read through some of them on the podcast sometime. I think that could be interesting to kind of see and experiment with, because like we all have such random weird ones. So if you remember them, let us know. We're always interested in our fans' experiences as well. So
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, follow us on all our platforms, all of them.
Please.
It's specifically Instagram, because the first 100 followers that we get on Instagram, we will be following you back. So, and then, as we continue to blow up and become the number one podcast in the world, we want to know who our true OGs are. You know what I mean? And granted, the first, 30 people that are following us, I do know them all personally. Appreciate you guys. But, we like to keep track, and whenever we do get to the point that we get like Patreon and, if we ever do merch and stuff like that with our dope logo, you'll get first dibs.
Yeah, so definitely make sure. So I think we are all on the same page now.
On TikTok and Instagram, we're Catchin Up _podcast. But remember, no G, so
Right.
CATCHIN, Catchin up, UP_podcast.
And our password
And then
is...
on our password, email, zip code, and address. On YouTube, we are Catching Up Pod. We will eventually switch it to the same thing as everything else, but I made the account under
We had
the
some
wrong
technical
email,
difficulties with our accounts.
Yeah, that was my fault. But and on Spotify, you can click the link in our description because it will have all of our all our stuff, all our platforms that we're on to make it easier for you guys to find us. But if you want to just go on and look us up on YouTube, Spotify specifically, we are the Catching Up Podcast. I haven't figured out how to take out the, but you got to put that the in there.
Well, yeah, so there's all the info. Please make sure to share with your friends. Let them know what's up. Let them know if they want to come catch up with us. And yeah, we're excited to continue this journey, keep it going, keep it rolling. If there's any topics you guys want to hear us discuss, let us know down below. And
maybe next week we'll do a little bit more of either an advice episode or something a little more deep. Maybe not. We're gonna flip a coin and find out. So we'll let you know.
Maybe
now you got to come back and figure it out.
If me and Gabe really want to go deep, we'll go deep.
We can.
People are going to interpret that in too many ways, so we're going to...
Yeah. But anyways, love you guys. Appreciate it. Make sure to leave a 5-star review on audio platforms. If you're not on an audio platform, make sure to like, comment, share with your friends, your grandma, your sister, your dog's babysitter, everyone you know and everyone you don't know, because that would help us out a lot. And then make sure, if you don't follow us or you're not subscribed, make sure to do that as well.
Man, if you're listening and you're not subscribed, that's just...
whack.
I don't know if we can be friends after that, man. Like, unless you're going to go do... Like, this is your first time tuning in and you're going to do it after. You want to get a listen through first. Like, I understand that.
Yeah, we're not, like... We're not harsh, you get strikes. That's like a first strike.
And honestly, if you've made it this far through the episode, if you dealt with us for this long, you might as well,
You might as well, because we talk about nothing, but it's still engaging. Weird, right?
We're like Seinfeld the podcast.
Bro, I literally will be editing the podcast and I'll be finished and I'll be like, what did we even just talk about?
All right, well, maybe we can ask ourselves that at the end of every episode.
Be like, what was the recap of today's episode? Dreams, Dune,
fashion,
and coffee and fashion.
Yeah, see, look at the broad spectrum.
Look at that.
We are highly intelligent beings.
Sometimes.
All right, man, we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.